There are so many battery banks on the market, and if you're anything like me, if you buy one, you'll want to know that it actually works. But it also does what you want it to, and that's to charge stuff. And as I've mentioned before, 2025 has been a year where I've tried many products from lots of different companies that I've not even considered before. So in this video, I'm going to look at 4 very different power banks from INIU to see if they can do a job for you. The internet is full of battery products, and when I look at them, it can be quite overwhelming, and it could be the same for you too. Companies that you may not have heard of before, and it can leave us all bewildered and concerned that when you get the product, it might not actually work. So we all go to YouTube, and that's what you're doing now because you want to do your research. And the products I'm looking at today are from a company called INIU, and up to this point I've been actually saying the name wrong, but believe me when I say INIU actually stands for INIU. Now, I've done reviews of the INIU SnapGo P73, and that works with iPhones, and I've also done a review of the INIU Cougar P63, and both have been used far more than I would have predicted. But INIU have sent me a couple of other products to show you. I would consider it to be the baby brother of the P63. That's the INIU Carry P50, and this looks identical to the one that I've done a review on before. It's smaller, has a different power output, but more on that later. And they've also sent me this one too. This is the SnapGo P81, and this one came as a massive surprise to me because it's a mobile watch charger. You can charge other devices with it as well, but the fact that it charges watches is a bit of a game changer, and I was 100% not expecting to use this as much as I have. Now, all 4 of these products, well, I use them in different ways, of course. They're different batteries, but they also have some crossover potential too. Of course, on this channel, I've spoken a lot about how the INIU products have changed the way I work, and yes, they've sent me these products to test, although I do use other power options from other companies as well, and I'm a massive fan of the Anker C1000 power station, and I'll talk about that in a future video. But like I said earlier, if you're on the lookout for a battery, would these suit your needs? Let's have a look. Straight off the bat, we have the first INIU battery that I tested, the Cougar P63, and at the time of making the review on this thing, it was claimed to be the world's smallest 100 watt 25,000 milliamp hour battery on the market. And this is one I use for a lot of daily tasks because there's just so much that you can do with it. It has 3 outputs, a USB-A port, which outputs 18 watts, and 2 USB-C ports. And one of these outputs is at 45 watts, and the other, that's the special one. I suppose you could probably call it the special sauce. It is the USB-C port, which delivers the 100 watts fast charging. And this is the reason why I love this one so much. And as I mentioned in the review of this, which I'll leave the link in the description, I was able to charge my 2021 MacBook Pro all the way to 91% with this. That just shows how much power is in it. Not quite to full because the laptop does have a bigger battery, but this will keep you going for even longer if you're out and about and you're on the road and you need extra juice. But this one is so versatile, and not only have I charged laptops with it, I've charged my phones, my Apple Watch, my Pocket 3. I think you can see the possibilities with this one. And I've even used it to keep my Insta360 X4 topped up on shoots, as you can see here. And despite the output and the speed at which it can charge, it's not actually that massive, and as you can see here, it fits in the palm of my hand. I wouldn't be without this one because I take it on every shoot with me, and that's me being brutally honest. So check it out, and as I say, the link to the full review is in the description. So onto battery number 2, and what I consider to be the P63's little brother. This is the INIU Carry P50. It is the same design as the P63, but just smaller. So what's the big difference in this one? Well, the P63 can store 25,000 milliamp hours of energy and has a maximum output of 100 watts, whereas this, the P50, can store 10,000 milliamp hours of battery energy and has a maximum output of 45 watts. So this one is slower at charging things like, I suppose, your laptop, and of course you don't get as much energy, but the payoff is that it's so much smaller. And I thought the P63 was small, but when you compare the two, you can just see the size difference, and this is tiny. In real terms, you can charge an iPhone 16 around 2.5 times or thereabouts, and INIU claim you can get an iPhone 16 to around 63% in 25 minutes. And you can charge an iPhone 16 Pro Max around 2 times, give or take, and for its size, that's quite a lot of energy. Like its bigger brother, it has 3 outputs on it, a USB-A port and 2 45-watt USB-C ports, and it's light enough at 5.6 ounces. And you can carry it in a bag, and I think you wouldn't really notice you have it on you. And it comes with this, a USB-C lanyard cable, which attaches quite nicely to the product itself. And these things are perfect for charging on the go, and to be honest with you, it's a nice little touch from INIU to include these in the box. I use this all the time for charging smaller devices, things like my DJI Pocket 3, my iPad mini, or even something like the Aperture MC. And at a pinch the other day, I charged my MacBook Air whilst I was using it, and it holds up really well. The INIU Carry P50 has come in very handy for me, and because it's small and light, it can have a place in your bag. And as I say, it's certainly another good option for you to consider. Now this one really surprised me, and the SnapGo P81 is fast becoming one of my most used batteries because its main feature is that it includes a dedicated wireless Apple Watch charger. Now it may only be me, but I've not actually seen one of these before, and I did label it as a bit of a gimmick, but I was so wrong. Now, I can speak for many of us when I say our watch batteries don't last forever, and my Apple Watch, after many software updates over the years, and I've been using it every day now for about 3 years, the battery inside, well, it isn't as efficient as it used to be. So much so that I can probably get maybe a day and a half out of the battery, something like that, and there have been times when I've been out and about and I'll either get the 10% warning or the watch will conk out completely. And over the past couple of months, the SnapGo P81, well, it's come to the rescue. And most recently, when I was on a shoot at St George's Park, home of the England team, I mentioned that in the last video, the watch gave me the 10% warning during the shoot. And so when I got into the car to make the journey home, I got the P81 out of my bag and I charged it on the way home. And when I got back home, the watch was back to 100% and ready to go. But like the previous Carry M50, it's small, it's compact, but it's about half the capacity of the P50. And as its main use case is to charge Apple Watches, the 5,000 milliamp hour battery inside it is probably perfect. And it charges watches at 5 watts wirelessly, which is actually fast for watches. And a full charge of my Apple Watch Series 8 is roughly around 18% of the INIU battery. So that means I reckon you could probably get 5 charges out of it, plus change. And it also has this USB-C cable built into it so you can charge other devices too. And remember, as I say, it's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery capacity in this. So you'll roughly get maybe 1 charge out of your iPhone 16 Pro Max maybe. And it also comes with this bag clip as well, so you can actually take this device on the go. And as I say, honestly, I've not used these Apple Watch cables since probably about 80 to 90% of the time I'll use this, and then the other 10 to 20% is probably on my nightstand when I go to bed. So again, this is something for you to consider if you want an Apple Watch battery charger on the move, and it's really become something which has been a game changer for me. So just as the INIU SnapGo P83 was the surprise battery of the 4, my most used one is this, the INIU SnapGo P73. And now just a word of warning, this is the older version. Now INIU have released a newer version of this one since I got mine. Basically does the same job, but this is the one that attaches to iPhones and uses wireless charging. But you can also power devices as well with the 2 USB-C ports. Now I charge my iPhones with this one, both wirelessly and also with the included USB lanyard cable, just in case I need the charge to be much quicker. And as it charges with the USB-C cable, it can be up to 45 watts. And when compared to the wireless option, that's around 15 watts. And it's great that you can have both options. And the wireless charging is also disabled when you're charging the phone with the USB-C cable, just in case you wondered. And just like the Cougar P63, I've already done a review of this battery, and I'll leave the link for that in the description. But this capacity is around 10,000 milliamp hours, and when you consider how slim it is, that's some feat. And this is literally on me all of the time, and I use this to charge my phone, I would say roughly 90% of the time. And like my Apple Watch earlier, The rest of the time it's on the nightstand, and this is definitely one I would recommend to you, especially if you're an iPhone user. And like I said in the review, I even got one of these for my mum, and she uses hers all of the time too. At the moment, there are so many battery options out there on the market, not just from INIU, but from many other companies as well. And it's important that you make the best decision for you. I'll be completely honest, I was never a big fan of this type of battery tech, but the advances made over the last couple of years have totally converted me. And also the prices, well, they're much easier to justify. You'll never be battery poor again if you have one of these devices. As I say, I use these every single day, and they've made my life a hell of a lot easier. My favorites are the P73 SnapGo and of course the P81 SnapGo, allowing me to wirelessly charge both my phones and also my Apple Watch. But that's not discounting the P63 or the P50. They both have their places in my bag too, but they come in handy for charging small devices and even laptops. But my phones and my watch are in use all of the time, and I guess that means the two wireless batteries are in use all of the time too. So they've rendered these cables here, well, they're pretty much useless now. But I guess the big question is, should you get them? Well, as I always say, you must always do your own research and find the solution which is best for you. We have loads of choice now, we're in 2025, and I guess that choice will only get even greater. But there is always a good discount to be had on this type of technology too, so they could actually be cheaper than you think. But if you do pick up one of these products, I hope you'll be as happy as I've been.